interesting, like how it's going to take the narrative shift for the hex, even if it competes with the Bitcoin, right? So because hex will do more excess than Bitcoin once the bear market ends. Even there's a space where hex might dominate Bitcoin. I mean, it might go mainstream, right? Like when you compare, we can compare like, Apple and Nvidia, and Nvidia was nowhere, and now it became the almost the top stock in terms of market cap. So that is where I see, hex is going to overtake the Bitcoin. So so it will be a lot of unique things that's going to happen in the next cycle. We'll see like once. So everything will start when hex hits $1.
Yeah, that's the tricky part is, people have been through such brutal bear markets that once they start making a little bit of money, they sell a quarter or half their stack. Then the question is, how much more does it go up? And the question is, will it ever come back down? And that's just a question, and some people will say, no, it's going to come back down again. It's going to drop 80, 90%, altcoins 95, 99%. But, that's the question. Will it happen again? And it's good to prepare now mentally which direction you're going to go in.
So Richard Hart said like, the more it goes, the more it corrects. It depends on the price action, and so we have to see it in two ways. So let's say if hex pumps to 10 cents, and then everybody talks it going to $1, let's say if it drops to 5 cents, so that is when people will scare. They might think like it's not going higher than that, then they will drop their backs. So once they drop their backs, it's going to do a 10x, like from the like 5 cents to 50 cents, right? So it will be a very fascinating how it's going to play out, like how much the dump it's going to have. Maybe we'll figure out it in maybe 6 to 9 months. But as of now, I'm not going to sell anything under previous all-time high. So if you see, Matic, it went sideways for 2 years, and it did a 1000x from the bottom, and basically from after the final accumulation it did a 250x. So Matic doesn't have a strong community, doesn't have any much narrative except the as a side chain, and it has VCs. A lot of things, drawbacks it is having. If something that even though those many things like drawbacks is it pumped like 250x, and how about the chain that has a backing of a 170,000 or 160,000 ETH in the treasury, with a strong community, no VCs, every single token hit the market, and it is cheap, and so even the LPs are quite thin. So when you see those kind of advantages, right, even it should pump even very high.
What about the next 2 weeks? Do you see any large pullbacks, or is it just knocking on the door and ready to move up?
Yeah, it is building a very good strength right now. You take Hex or Pulsechain. So let's say like Hex went to almost 008, and it dropped 15%. That's it. It dropped 15%, and now it's bouncing, and it is right at a point 007. It is building quite strength. I don't even surprise if it can do a cent within 2 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, it will start slow, but people might think that slow as its max pace, right? So that is where a lot of people will drop below or around all-time high in everything. So once it goes to the price discovery, so that is no point of return ever. And so even this previous high, right, like for Hex it's around 4 or 5 cents, for Pulse it's around 3028, for Pulsex it's around 3014. We will never ever going to see the price is returning to that point ever in the future, like in our lifetimes.
You're saying that it won't ever come back to these prices again?
Ever.
No, I mean, I talk to friends as well in the space, and like I said, I think what I'm trying to say is that the sacrifice has never fully ended. You know, if we're below sacrifice rate, we're still sacrificing. I think most people would agree that they've been, you know, sacrificing in life in general. Whether it's money, obviously, no return. Maybe they've gone through a lot of hardships because they have, you know, sacrificed their, I won't say relationships, but like, you know, people have promised things and things were very optimistic initially. And now I think everybody's very worn down from the constant pump and then go down and pump and go down, you know. So everybody's a little bit tired and fatigued. But I do think obviously given the whole macro structure and everything, we're at the point now where we're getting ready to finally see some rewards. And that's obviously because Bitcoin is rising and ETH is gone back into the triangle, which is super bullish. I would have never expected that ETH price to drop below the 3-year triangle. I thought it was going to bounce off of it, go back in, and then keep rising. So we had that humongous drop where everything got very, very bearish, and is ETH going to die, etc. But if you're watching other indicators, you see that the big institutions were buying Ethereum at $1,500 and $1,600. So it's very bullish that even right now, a lot of ETH is being purchased, and that can only be good for us because when they fully run out, I mean, it's going to skyrocket the ETH reserve and, you know, everything else. So
Yeah, I posted on the ETH, as a bottom call at around 1600, where like 3-week chart on the RSI is hitting right at the resistance when the same thing happened for the last 2 times, and there is no point of return to that price ever again. So yeah, and even all the point you talked about, the people who sacrifice, right? So because it's a brutal 2-year market, and so basically I predicted it. So when the first pump it did, from almost like 3032 4032 to 202, like that, because that kind of pattern, it should not supposed to go. If it goes there, then it's supposed to take a long term. That is when even I predicted Hex, like when it last time it did around 2 to 3 cents. So that is when I posted even back in last November that everything will come for a cost, right? So we already paid the price for it, and now we have to get the rewards for all those sufferings, right? Yeah, so now everything is in line, like Bitcoin already pumped, ETH is pumping, and it is looking even strong, ETH. And Pulsechain now it has a lot of fundamentals when you compare to basically Pulsechain is faster than Base, right? So it has a lot of narratives, but narratives, it didn't play out until now. But it is the time for people to speculate on the narrative front on the Pulsechain. So everything is in line for a massive pump. Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, like, even Solana got more hype compared to ETH in last cycle. Now it's Pulsechain's turn. Yeah, it's going to take the center stage, then it then Solid when compared to ETH. Now it's the time to hold you back. So if something pumped, make sure, like, don't dump everything in one go, right? So now it's quietly opposite. So until now, any pump people used to dump, right, and it's going to go lower. And so the ones who got more profited in this last 2 years were LPs. Those who they did liquidity farming, they got a lot of fees because the price action is going as a sideways, right? It went up, they might have impairment loss, but it went down. Now they have more coins in terms of fees. So, but yeah, so until now it happened, but now it's going to be start a new bull mode. Yeah, people keep on, they might think that's the top, but it won't be the top. It won't be the top. It will keep on rising and rising as a impact of this downtrend. And even So the people who got into, who sacrificed like 2 years or 4 years back, and even there are a lot of people they sold for a loss, right? Even the whale dumper who dumped, around 700 million hex. So they held all the way from 2019 until now, and they sold at the bottom. So yeah, so that's how it's going to be. Like, so right now people they sidelined with the fear of the price action, right? Everyone, like, because that's very brutal way, to that's a kind of a brutal experience to come up with. So yeah, it's going to have a very, so I believe like it could be the top will be when, base, so whatever we have experienced until now, the pain. So when the, bears or the Richard Hart haters, they keep on, crying on the streamline, right? So they miss the pump again. That could be the top next time. Like, I mean, this end of the bull run.
Yeah, you mentioned that you have an idea when the top is going to be. So I guess you'll just talk about it when it happens, huh?
Yeah, so yeah, I want to even confirm, right? Like, so that is the date it's going to. So I need to. I got a date. I believe that could be the top, even unless the price action of ETH and the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is matching. Even I call Bitcoin the bottom at 15,000, right? I mean, sorry, at 19,000. So that is when I called the bottom, and then the top. When the target is around 48 to 69K is the top. It went to 73, like 4K. It went higher. Even I call, 48, like it goes to 105K by end of 2024 December, and it went again like for 5,000 this time higher. So yeah, I believe this, whatever the date I got and whatever the price I got, yeah, I believe that could be top, and I will call on that date. That is the top for Bitcoin. And the tricky part is like the altcoins. So will it end at the same date, or will it take 1 to 3 months? I don't know, like, as of now. And also I see the people who are, people who are, FOMOing into the SAC wallet, that, who are using the Pumpy. I don't think they will. It won't end well. Like, I believe Richard Hart will make them to eat their own medicine, like, kind of thing.
Now, what about the coins that interest you? Which ones are those?
As of now, Hex, it seems to be extreme bullish for me. Like, as I said, like, it may not, dethrone Bitcoin in the cycle, but it'll take the center stage. And right now, people don't care of the utilities, right? They're not there. Bitcoin took the center stage. So that is where there's the marketing token, as I said earlier in the intro. It is the most known in the crypto space, and everybody, regret on 10,000x pump. Even in the Pulsechain community, people sold at 5 cents. Likewise, it went to 50 cents. There are a lot of people who regret that. And when Hex pumps, it will grab all the eyeballs from the influencers or the retail or the other users, and from that, like, from the Hex, we will get a lot of money will be bridged into Pulsechain. When Hex pumps, everything pumps because of the tight liquidity bonding, right? So yeah, I'm too bullish on Hex. And even I'm not sure if it's coincidence or not, even the mega whale, right? So basically it is having around 6 billion non-OA, and I see from the Hex alerts, I see a lot of coins being doing a 555 staking, and whale dumper dumped almost like 700, and if we include the weak hands, it could be $1 billion. So out of 6 billion, it's almost a 15% got dumped, and it got bought up, right? So all that self pressure has been gone. So that's why we saw only a 15% dump from 008 to 0063, something like that. So yeah, so it's that's a proof which I cannot ask more, to test its strength. And basically out of 6 billion non-AI supply, 3 billion are staked. You can see the stats from app.hexpin something from the site. So out of the 3 billion circulation, 1 billion got dumped recently. So I believe it went to the very strong hands. We have only 2 billions maybe in the market. It's the strongest coin you take in terms of fundamentals or in terms of technicals. It is having very good structure than any of the coins.
One last question. Do you think that Pulsechain will be more like Matic or more like Tron in the charts?
Better than that. Okay. I mean, do you mean to say in terms of maybe combination of both Matic and Tron?
Yeah, I think I don't have the charts in front of me, but Tron is more of it pumped about a few thousand%, not X's, but percent. And then it's just been doing a gradual going up over the course of even, I believe, during the bear market. It crashed, but it's been going steadily up.
So actually it did maybe in 2 to 3 months, it did like more 1000x or so. Maybe I'm not sure where the chart is available, but most of the charts it's having like a 20x or something. But I traded it Tron at the very early, but dumped after a certain percent. I didn't get the whole 1000x more. So it will be a mix. Like if you Matic, it took like 6 months. Tron took like 3 months. Pulsechain, it could be the mix of both, but it will do more than Tron did or the Matic did, and it will be the top 5 coin. I mean, all the rigid coins will be maybe top 10, but Pulsechain and Hex could be top 5. And all this 2 years of bear market, we never know how much coins, like the good whales accumulated, right? It could be Richard, it could be some other good whales, like who wants to hold until the peak, right? And then they'll slowly dump. So that has been done. So basically market makers does the job. And here our market makers could be Richard or somebody. I believe like they do even very well than the normal market makers does. So it's like it's even our own community members won't believe the pump it's going to have. So once it breaks the new all-time high, the previous all-time high. So it's too much bullish for me. Actually, I'm anticipating for this kind of move from 2 years, right? So even I posted, right, for the Hex, like it'll take June 2025. That is when it gets bottom. Back then, I get a lot of backlash, from the community. Why it's going to take that much time? So that's how the textbook patterns works. The structure it is having, and the pump will be unbelievable by anybody. Like nobody can imagine that kind of pump it's going to have. And as of now, it could be people may think like it may not happen, but since I predicted the move, right, for the bear market, I believe I'm right even in the bull market. So where you guys, like, where do you think like people will take profits? At what point of price you think like people might book profits in Pulsex or Hex or Inc? So in my opinion, like people will start taking profits at the sack price, maybe some some part of bag. Some people may do at a 2x. Some people like maybe they keep on dumping, like some at sack, some at 2x, some at 3x. So the less, the more people having large amount of bags, when they sell lower or when they hold until the higher, we go to higher.